Back when I was a kid, DuckTales for the NES was definitely one of my go-to games. We didn't own this one until later in our NES lives, but we rented it every chance we had. DuckTales had that Capcom seal of purple approval, and of course it was also based on the wildly successful cartoon starring Scrooge McDuck, his nephews Huey, Dewey, and Louie, and his niece Webigail. While at first glance, DuckTales may not seem to have much to offer in gameplay, as it contains only 5 courses, but those levels more than make up for it by being massive, filled with secrets, and more than highly engaging. Today on the Play It Again Pastor channel, we're ranking all the levels in DuckTales for the NES. There's so much to consider when ranking levels, and here is no exception. You have, of course, the iconic DuckTales music to think about, as well as the locations, graphics, exploration, and fun. A big part of DuckTales for the NES is about exploration. These levels are fun to just explore from one end to the next. Even today, more than 30 years after its release, I am still discovering new areas of this game I had not explored before, making it one of my absolute favorites for the NES. So without any further explanation, let's dive into the rankings. Number 5. The Amazon. While the Amazon is at the top of the list of levels to play when you start the game, and while it might be the first level many people explore, it is by no means the best. Of course, this level is still incredible in comparison to so many other games, but in the rankings of DuckTales levels, it lands at number 5 for me. The layout is much more linear than in other courses in the game, and it does have one section that I do find notoriously annoying to pass through. The level starts off in the Amazon jungle, allowing Scrooge to pogo jump with his cane off the heads of gorillas until the first option for exploration appears, going down into the caves beneath the jungle. As soon as you descend into the caves, you find a darker world of spiders and spikes. There are plenty of secrets in this area to discover, including the tops of walls that actually will allow you to walk across them, and even what I love to think of as a double secret area right at the beginning to discover once you pass the first one. Pogoing past the spiders, you can climb back up into the jungle. There is another secret area to discover by climbing up the vines into a section of ruins, and then you're climbing up to the skytop ruins to pass through the annoying single blocks. This area reminds me the most of a Mega Man style kind of gameplay, where you jump from block to block, all the while avoiding bees that are flying at you. As soon as you pass through this area, you'll find the ruins proper, where there are multiple paths to explore, including one that takes you straight to the boss of this level, the Incan Sentinel. In each level, you can find Launchpad McQuack, who offers to take you back to Duckburg so you can choose another course to explore. I never understood why you might want to do this as a kid, as I saw finishing the level as the most important element of gameplay. However, if you do choose to go back to Duckburg, you can bank all the money you've collected so far, as well as return to earn even more cash. There's also the opportunity to find the secret bonus level in the clouds if you have a 7 in the tens of thousands place in your cash when you talk to Launchpad. Collect all the diamonds here for an extra bonus. Overall, the Amazon introduces the player to the mechanics of swinging the cane to knock blocks out of the way, pogo jumping across spikes, and even the invincibility badge that allows you to plow your way through enemy after enemy. There are some areas with sheer drop-offs to nothing, and the upper ruins can be a little tricky to traverse the first time through. Up in the ruins, there is a choice to pay a statue money in order to pass through, and if you haven't found the other path to the boss, you will have to cough up the cash. Number 4. African Mines. As Scrooge McDuck enters the African mines, his nephew informs him that he will need a key to enter these mines. And where is this key? In Transylvania, of course, because that makes sense. Scrooge heads back to Transylvania to find the key. You can explore quite a bit of Transylvania before you discover the key is hiding behind one of the mirrors right near the beginning of the level. Once Scrooge has the key, the mines are opened up and you can begin to explore this completely underground stage. This level looks the same. throughout in nearly the entire thing, so it was easy to forget exactly where you might be at any one time as you pogo jump your way through. There are plenty of falls to doom, but also lots of crevices that will take you right to a lower section of the mine. Without trial and error, it really is difficult to know which is which. There are some areas you cannot return to once you fall far enough, making this course one of the trickier ones to completely explore on one playthrough. There are some challenging platforming sections here, including enemies that spring up out of the water or pits at no warning. If you aren't ready for them, then you're going to be finding yourself knocked back into a pit most likely. There's also a challenging minecart section taken directly from the 80s cartoon. You'll have to be ready to make the jumps out of the minecart before it falls into oblivion. There are lots of secret areas to find here too, including a bonus treasure that will earn you a cool 1 million extra dollars. This particular treasure is the golden ring and is hidden across a pit with jumping enemies you must pogo across to make to the other side. The boss of this level is the King Slime, which bounces around the ceiling in the playing area. He's very reminiscent of enemies like the one in Mario is Missing or in Super Mario World where the Koopa kids run up the walls to the ceiling before dropping to the ground. Overall, this level's a fun entry in the game, but just not extremely memorable. Number 3. Himalayas. I've covered the Himalayas level before in my retro Christmas themed level series, so we'll talk about it more briefly here. Scrooge traverses through the snow of the Himalayas before dropping into the icy caverns below. You can't pogo jump in the snow or Scrooge will get stuck, so you have to wait until you're on the ice to jump around on the cane. This is a nice change of pace, allowing for some more carefully planned platforming while dodging rabbits and jumping goats in the snow. There are a few levels to the Himalayas ice caverns, and falling into the cracks in some areas will again take you below, while others will take you right to a lost life. There are more secrets to find here, including Bubba, the cave duck character from the DuckTales cartoon. When you find Bubba, you can rescue him and then he'll reveal a treasure chest that includes an extra meter of health. This is definitely a great pickup, especially if you're playing on hard difficulty, where every hit from an enemy reduces your health by 1 whole meter. It's fun to see the ice skating ducks, but the spiders in this level are a killer. Trying to find your way past some of these spiders leads to more deaths than anything else. The Himalayas is a fun area to explore and is way more memorable than the African mines. The boss at the end of the level is the abominable snowman, who reminds me the most of a Mega Man villain. He whacks the wall, sending snowballs falling towards Scrooge before jumping at you, but once you see the patterns, he's fairly easy to dispatch to oblivion. Number 2. The Moon. I debated for a long time over which level in this game would be my number 1. In fact, I actually flip-flopped the number 1 and number 2 spots several times before finally landing on the moon for spot number 2. First, let's just say it from the beginning. The Moon's theme is definitely one of the greatest NES music tracks of all time. While Super Mario Bros. Songs might be more popular, once you hear the Moon theme from DuckTales, you will quickly understand that this is no overrated track. Having this as the background to exploring the moon's surface, the moon's underground, and a giant spaceship makes the experience even more memorable. I feel as though the moon allows for some of the greatest exploration in this game. Once you head into the spaceship, there are multiple paths to take and plenty of areas to explore. You have to find a remote control in order to call for Gizmo Duck, who can open up the underground section of the level for you. The remote control is hidden up inside the spaceship, and it's easy enough to find, but along the way there are plenty of areas to find treasures, and even one secret treasure to find, the Golden Mirror. You have to climb up to the top of the spaceship on the right, and then pogo jump across aliens and spikes in order to reach the treasure, which earns you another $1 million for your total score. Down below, you find the boss of the level, the giant rat, which guards this level's treasure, the green cheese. The rat is one of those enemies that goes from side to side, stands on a platform, and is easy enough to take care of. So why did the moon only make number 2 on my list when it clearly has a glowing review from me? That's mainly because at the end of the day, it came down to setting. I like the moon as a level, but my pick for the number 1 level in DuckTales all came down to that setting. Number 1. Transylvania. Yes, Transylvania wins my vote as favorite level in this game, and that's mainly because of the theming. This was my favorite level even when I was a kid. I loved exploring the old Transylvania mansion, making my way past the skeleton ducks and mummies. The first time I found out the mirrors could transport you to other areas of the mansion made this level even better in my mind. It meant there was so much to explore and find. You can climb up to the top of the mansion or down to the basement past rows of coffins. Treasures are everywhere, and even whacking suits of armor reveal more treasure boxes to collect. There's a minecart section in this level as well, which leads to more treasures and other areas of the mansion. You can also find another health meter extender here too when you pass through one of the few false walls in the level. I do have one small complaint in this course, and that's actually an enemy complaint in the ghosts. From what I can tell, there is no way to defeat them, so you have to dodge. If you don't learn where the ghosts are, you're going to take quite a bit of damage as they swoop towards you. The boss here is Magica Dispel, one of my favorite villains from the TV show. She's not a difficult boss, and once you defeat her, you'll earn the golden coin. The best thing about Transylvania, in my opinion, is that this is the level you keep coming back to. From finding the key to the African mines, to the final boss battle once you've collected all the treasures, this is just a fun place to come back and explore. Even the secondary final boss, where you have to race Magica and Flintheart Glomgold up the rope to the treasure at the top, it felt like the best kind of movie villains who always come back for one last fight with the heroes, expanding this level again and again. DuckTales is one of those classic games with great gameplay and incredible level design. I love the exploration aspects to almost every level, even the more linear ones like the Amazon. By being able to explore, it gives the player the feeling of being Scrooge McDuck, searching for treasure throughout the world, capturing that sense of adventure that was so essential to the original TV show. So, if you're looking for some of the best Capcom NES levels out there, don't pass up on DuckTales for the NES.